Do most of your Etsy listings fall flat on their face, causing you to become burnt out? If you're listing just to list, that is bound to happen without any real directional data. Today, I'm going to show you this new tool that I've been using with some extremely specific filters that I've crafted myself to find explosive trends and sales data that you can apply to your store regardless of what you sell. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave. Definitely hit subscribe if you're new here. It's important to use trending data and current data, whether you've already picked a niche or you're looking for your next store or your first store to start on Etsy. If you just blindly pick a niche and run with it and create designs or create products within that niche without watching what people are buying, then you will be fighting an uphill battle. Sure, you can get lucky, that happens all the time, but if you want to have the wind in your sails and be on the winning side of the data, then I want to show you how to filter this data out. Because whether you're a new store or you're an existing store, you want to know what people are using. And there's two sides to this spectrum that I have, kind of identified that I want to explain to you. The two sides of this spectrum are, knowing what's working and implementing it to your new products. That's when you already have an existing store and you watch the trends within your niche or outside your niche and try to apply them to your current store. Then on the other side of the spectrum is full-blown trend writing, where you might have a print-on-demand store that's a general store that has every type of niche in it, and you'll ride any trend. Either way, knowing what the trend is extremely helpful, and it's how stores blow up overnight, and it's how stores grow to new levels overnight as well. It's by simply knowing what the trend is and following it. So SEO research, extremely important. Quality of design, extremely important. And then the last key to the puzzle, or the last piece of the puzzle, in my humble opinion, is following and knowing what the trends are. And if there is any applicable aspect to them, applying them to what you have or what you are currently building in your store and your products. So you can use this tool that I'm going to show you today for many other things like calculating your profits, etc. But I want to show you how to use it to find the right trends and apply it to your store. If you want to grab a lifetime license of Profit Tree, the link is in the description. They're running an extremely insane offer where you can get a lifetime access to it for one price versus a monthly price. So let's jump into my computer. The first thing you want to do when you get into Profit Tree here is come to the product finder. And I'm going to type in just the noun of a specific type of product. Now, this is where I suggest you start with. You can start with two-word phrases, the adjective-noun combo, absolutely. And I encourage you to do that. I'm going to start with just jewelry, and I'm going to leave off hot on Etsy and deep research. But quickly, I want to show you what happens when you do hit deep research real quick, because it's pretty cool. It shows you a list of related keywords. Now, SEO research is great in and of itself on separate research flow, if you will. But this gives you a quick little reference list of related keywords. So if you didn't want to leave the app and you wanted to stay in here and continue researching, and without diving into SEO, you can grab keywords off of that list. So that's the first data point that you can use in this. But I'm going to go back actually, and I'm going to go just jewelry without hitting either one of those, because I want it to be extremely specific to jewelry. When you click hot on Etsy, it goes a bit broader, which is extremely useful. But for today's workflow, I want to show you this. So we go to jewelry. Obviously, jewelry is an extremely, saturated niche. Doesn't mean you can't do well in it. Plenty of new millionaires, literally millionaires, and six-figure stores are created out of the jewelry niche every single year. So don't be afraid of a bad niche score, but it is a really very useful score to use if you're trying to tap into untapped niches. And the first thing I'm going to do when I filter out is I'm going to come to this filter box here. I'm going to choose in 20 plus carts now. That indicates that a lot of people are adding it to their cart. Now, obviously, I want to mention one thing. You will always have a product purchase path, and it always looks like this. There's always more impressions than there are clicks and views. There's always more clicks and views than there are favorites, and there are always more add to carts than there are purchases. So I get this question a lot from my students, is that, I'm getting a lot of favorites, why aren't they converting to sales? It's just always how it goes. There's always more favorites than there are add to carts, more add to carts than there are purchases. So if you're seeing a lot of add to carts, and especially for when we're using this tool, if you're seeing a lot of carts, add to carts, then that's very good indicator that there's even more purchases behind that. So it's a natural flow of things. It's always going to be like that. I just needed to mention that because it's a common question. Most viewed in 24 hours, I want to click that as well. That means it's trending immediately right now, and then popular within 24 hours. So then there's a few other extremely important filters I want you to add. I want you to add shop age, max 3 years. What does this do for us? This filters out any type of monster Etsy stores that have been simply operating based on the monstrous momentum they've had for years and years and years. I want to edit all those people out of the results right now. I want to see people that have made it big in the last 3 years on Etsy and are not relying off of, 5 words in the title, but hundreds of thousands of sales that just muscle their way to the top of the search results. That's what I don't want to see, because a lot of the times people will try to replicate those stores, and that's the opposite of what we want to do here. So shop age, max 3 years. Then star seller, I'm going to leave that alone. Everything else, aside from what I'm showing you, for this workflow, for this research workflow, it's going to fall into place naturally. So star seller, I don't care if you're a star seller or not. If you're hitting all these different metrics, it's likely you are a star seller, sure, but you don't have to be. Listing type, physical or digital. Obviously, I typed in jewelry, so it's going to be physical, so I'm going to leave that alone. Bestseller and Etsy's pick, those are likely going to be on there naturally if they hit some of these other metrics. You can click these too, and I encourage you to do so. But for this one, this specific workflow, I want you to try this. Running ads, yes, we do want to see people that are running ads. That means there's not some kind of odd, it can potentially filter out some type of odd anomaly where there's no ads on the product, but it's doing really well because a ton of people are coming over from their social media platforms. I want to filter those people out. I want to see people that are in the trenches, willing to spend their own money and not relying off of 1 million TikTok followers, and they just happen to be on Etsy. That is how we kind of get tricked, that you can be tricked by listings like that if you're using research tools to try to find good products. If somebody could be running thousands and thousands of clicks to their Etsy store, you see that it's selling well and you think it's something to replicate in terms of SEO or something to that degree, but it's not. So I want to see people running ads. Listing age maximum, I would go 6 for just quick and dirty, but if you want to get real specific, this 4-month time period, that's going to be, a very sweet spot. Now, keep in mind, you can go wider than this and you can change all this stuff. But this is what I highly recommend to find some very strict, trending bestsellers. So the next filter that I want to use is actually monthly revenue. I want to make sure that the single listing is making more than $1,500 a month. Now, granted, a lot of these listings that are about to pop up are going to be making a lot more than that. But as a base, I want to see single listings that are making above 1,500 listings. So with all of these different data points, monthly revenue, cart, viewed, popular, running ads, maximum shop age 3 years, and running ads. I think I already said that. These filters are going to give us some extremely current trending products. And one thing that you want to click on here is monthly revenue, so you can cascade it highest to lowest. That's going to just filter out everything that's doing the best. So with our filters show up differently, but then I want you to click monthly revenue so it's highest to lowest. Now we're really getting into the nitty-gritty filtered specific snipe level filters that we can use on this tool, and the possibilities are endless. And as you can see earlier, the niche score was 0. Now what we have is a 100. So very interesting that the things that are trending are the things that are good to get into because that's where people are right now. So these things might be less saturated than the other things. That's kind of what it is telling us. So the next product I want to look at with you is going to be right here. 14 karat, it's a memorial It's a piece of memorial jewelry. So 14K solid gold cremation urn teardrop necklace. So there's not ashes in there. That's what I thought when I first read it. That would be a pretty interesting product. I'm sure they exist. But this is just a teardrop to represent. So it's an urn teardrop necklace. It's a memorial. That's the main theme to take away from it, that it's a memorial necklace for somebody that's passed away. Guess what? Add to that the ability to personalize it, and you have a multifaceted, trending, well-to-do product that you can apply to your business. So if I was a jeweler, I would create a memorial type necklace that is personalized. You don't have to call it an urn teardrop necklace, but a memorial necklace that's personalized that allows you to remember your lost loved ones. That's what I take away from that. Quick, easy, and applicable to a store with jewelry. Now, whenever you come into these results here, always ask yourself, how can I apply this to what is in my store? So if you're doing a different niche, you're typing in t-shirts into here. Now that would render a large amount of niches, and I can do that in a future video, which I likely will. But that's a very different niche to jump into. This listing here, $10,000 in the last month. Total revenue, $20,000. It's $124, so it has that going for it. It's a little bit higher ticket. It's in 20 plus carts. And guess what? The listing age is 11 months old. So this is something that is trending right now. That is, you can take that theme of it and put it onto your store. So that's an exact workflow of how I would use Profit Tree, and how I do use Profit Tree to find trending ideas, and how I want you to use it. So check the link in the description below. You can get the lifetime access for one amount, which is an insane deal. You usually would pay a lot more monthly in an entire year than what they are offering right now. Check out the link in the description to join Profit Tree, support the channel. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I hope you have a beautiful day.